This is the 2013 Scion FR-S, and this is the Series 10. Apparently it's 601 out of 2500, which is supposed to make it awesomer, I guess. Obviously it has the 2.0 4-cylinder, 200 horsepower, 151 pound-feet of torque, and this is the 6-speed manual. And the Series 10, it comes in a particular color, which this is kind of a grayish, light bluish, and it has some interior accents as well as the front emblem and the rear emblem. The Scion badge actually lights up in the dark, which is kind of interesting as well. So a little tidbit. So let's give it a go, see how she does. And I've driven one of these before, and these are, honestly, this is one of the premier cars that everybody's been raving about, because it's actually a good form factor. So this is Toyota combining their powers with Subaru to really build a fun to drive car. So they got a rear-wheel drive, 2-door coupe. It's a 2+2 technically, but I've sat in the back seats, and you honestly do not want to drive in the back seats. So what I love about this car is that it's so pure, and not just that, but it's naturally aspirated, so it's a car that you really have to wring out. So the redline is on here 7,500, and I think peak torque and peak power is right up on there. The problem with this car is that most people complain about the torque dip that this car has, right around the 4,000 to 5,000 RPM range. And honestly, other than that, there's really no problems with this car. I mean, it's just such a pure car, and I actually took a picture of this car standing next to it. It's so short, and the boxer engine that Subaru produced for it sits so low that the center of gravity on the car is perfect for handling. Everything feels very, very precise. Looking out here, the rear, front, and side visibility is really good. And the 6-speed manual, like I said, the clutch uptake, the travel is not too far, and it's kind of vague, but I would say it's very easy to get used to. It's very easy to just jump in and get used to it. Yeah, I'm at 4 grand right now, RPMs, floor it, not much is happening. And then once you get into the higher RPM band, it starts to really pick up, which is really nice. It's really fun to do. And that's really what you get out of these naturally aspirated cars. There's a lot of things that people complain about these cars with. You know, it's a $25,000 car out the door, and honestly, you know, it's just a fun car to drive, and people daily these cars. And this car specifically has 215 front and rear tires, and you know, it's not a lot of meat for the car, but for the power the car has, I think it's plenty. And I mean, it's not that quiet in the cabin, but it's really not supposed to be. But like I said, it's just, everything's very, very direct. And like I said, I've driven this car before. I thought about trading in my car for this, but one of the issues that I had was that the power just isn't, like, driving around town, there's just no power. It's very responsive. It's just the fact that you have to be basically revving this car to hell to really get the power out of it. that quite honestly is fun to do. And the great part about this car is that you can drive at the limits, whereas a lot of performance cars, you can't really drive at the limits. Like right here, like making that turn, it's good times. The thing is, you have to shift a lot in this car to really get the performance you want out of it. And sorry, Tyler, if I'm like scaring you.
That's all good. You know what you're doing.
And that's the other thing with these 215s. These comes with Prius tires out of the box, and God, I love the shift. The shift is really good. And honestly, these cars were really made to be sort of tuned, and out of the box, you get a really good baseline. And like I said, the 215 rear tires and front tires make it really easy to kick the car, or kick the tail out of this, kick the tail out. Jeez, can't even speak here. What do you think about the exterior of this car? I think the exterior is really nice.
Oh yeah, it's definitely.
I think it definitely, you know, it doesn't really turn heads because you see a lot of them on the road, but I think from a perspective of, you know, when you walk away from the car, it's probably a car that you take a look at it and you're like, wow, that's my car.
Yeah.
And like I said, the Scion FR-S, the 10th series, comes with a few different things. One of the few things that the actual Scion FR-S doesn't come with standard is the push button start, as well as the dual climate. And in addition to that, it comes with the keyless start and the key fob. Basically, it's keyless entry. You can touch the door and the door will unlock for you, which is really nice to have too. And it's something that the Subaru BRZ actually has, and it comes standard with the premium, I believe. And fuel economy in this car is actually pretty good too. You have to put in premium, which kind of sucks, but you still get decent gas mileage out of it, which is nice. And you know, for two-seater, it's really nice. They actually made this car so that you can track it, so that, you know, when you fold down the seats, you can fit in 4 tires. So if you need 4 tires or 4, you know, real big pieces of meat or summer tires or what have you, you know, you can put those in the back seat and the trunk, which is nice. And they compare this car a lot to the Mazda Miata as well, or the MX-5, whatever you want to call it. And I think this car is just more practical. That car might be more, I guess, traditional and very pure, whereas this car takes all of your space requirements into, you know, consideration. In addition, also, oh yeah, something that I didn't mention was that this car specifically comes with the LED signature headlights, and it comes with the actual HID bulbs, so you get that as well, which you don't get with the regular Scion FR-S, which is kind of a bummer, but you have to get the Series 10 to get that. Brakes on this car, not the greatest, but you know, you can always upgrade the pads, and you can always upgrade to a big brake kit. And you know, you're not, the problem with that is, you know, this is a tuner car, and once you dig into that, you may want to dig into more, like a turbo kit or a supercharger kit, which it can get expensive really quick. But other than that, this car is really, really good, and I really don't have any complaints too much other than the power, the steering, the weight, 2,700 pounds, just a little bit over that, and the overall, you know, the purpose of this car specifically. It was made to be fun to drive, and that's a lot of things that you don't get nowadays. People are actually buying these cars, which is great. If you're looking for a Scion FR-S or a Subaru BRZ, make sure you check out Libertyville Mitsubishi. They have this car available. This car has 58,000 miles on it. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.